Alright, this is LSAT PrepTest 68, Section 4, questions 11 through 16. So let's take a look. So this one's actually kind of weird. It says that a maintenance company that takes service requests from 3 clients, I, S, and T. So we have, I, S, and T. They want to set targets for how long it takes them to fix stuff. So they'll be set for 3 days, 2 days, or 1 day. Okay, so we're not sequencing them. We're just assigning, whatever this company is. We're going to say 3 days, 2 days, or 2 days, or 1 day. So in a sense, it's a kind of a grouping game almost. It turns out that there's 2 service clients for every target, for every client rather. One for the website request, one for the voicemail request. So it actually looks like this. You have the website request and the voicemail request for I, the website and the voicemail for S, and the website and the voicemail for T. So we're actually setting 6 targets, it looks like. And they're set according to the following conditions. Okay, so right now, we still don't know the relationships between any of these. That's presumably what the rules are going to tell us. But at least for the moment, all we really know is that for each one of these individual elements, we're going to be assigning 1, 2, or 3 days to it. Meaning that it's not your traditional sequencing game. You're not putting them in order. It's not really your traditional grouping game either, because it's not like you really. I guess technically it would be 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and then you would distribute these 6 in here. But I'm not sure that that's the best way to go about it. But anyway, let's just take a look at the rules and see. So none of the clients can have a website target that is longer than its voicemail target. Okay, so this one is interesting. Because the particular way that it's phrased tells us that whatever a website target is, it can't be longer than the voicemail target. In other words, this can't be true. So what does that mean? This means one of 2 things. Either the website target is less than the voicemail target, or the website target is equal to the voicemail target. So, when you combine these, you remember from, like the 5th grade, that this statement is what you get at the end. So let's take away, actually no, let's not take it away. Let's actually just leave it there, and let's just shrink this a little bit so that we can keep a reasonable spacing for our rules. Okay, so that's the first rule. Alright, simple enough. So none of these can be bigger than these. And this equal is important, probably. Second, image's voicemail target must be shorter than the other client's voicemail targets. So image's voicemail target must be shorter than S's and also shorter than T's. Right? So you look at this. This is a less than or equal to. And then you look at this. This is a strict less than. What does this mean? It means that IV is never going to be in 3. It means that SV and TV are never going to be in 1. Because if SV is 1, then it can't be greater than IV. If IV is 3, it can never be less than both of these guys. Right? Okay. Last rule. Last rule is Salid's website target must be shorter than TrueVest website target. So SW less than TW. Once again, you notice the strict less than, meaning this cannot be 3. This cannot be 1. Alright, so if you wanted to make this mirror your traditional grouping game setup, this is what it would look like. You would have, these are the 1 day targets, these are the 2 day targets, these are the 3 day targets. We know that IV is not going to be here. We know that SV and TV are not going to be here. We know that SW is not going to be here. We know that TW is not going to be here. And so, if you wanted to make it look like a regular grouping setup, this is how you would do it. I'm not sure how much this ends up helping on this particular game, but it's worth noting that you should know how to do this. Notice that we didn't put this into our setup over here because this equal right here ruins everything, right? At any point you could put two of these guys on the same level, which makes it really, really just exceedingly difficult to represent in something like this, so you're just probably better off just remembering what it's all about. Okay. Alright. So, question 11. Question 11 isn't really an acceptability question, at least not in its traditional form, but it does end up being sort of like, it sort of takes the place of it and is sort of approached the same way. So let's take a look. It says if none of the clients has a voicemail target of 3 days, each of the following must be true except. Okay. So none of the voicemail targets are 3 days. So IV, SV, and TV are all either 2 or 1. Okay, and so we know immediately that this must be 1, and these guys must be 2. Why is that? Because of rule number 2, right? Rule number 2 tells us that IV is always less than SV and TV. So if these guys can't be 3, they must be 2, so that this strict less than can be enforced, right? So let's actually write it out this way. IV has to be 1 because SV and TV both have to be 2. Okay, what else can we gain from this? So we know that we followed this rule. Can we say anything about the website targets? Well, the website targets have to be less than or equal to the voicemail targets, which means that I's website target has to be less than or equal to 1. Well, 0 is not an option, right? So it has to be 1 as well. How about SW and TW? Well, these are a little less clear. They could be 2 or 1 until you take into account rule number 3. Rule number 3 tells us that SW is less than TW, right? And so what that means is that if these can both be 1 or 2, but this one's less than this one, that means this has to be 1 and this has to be 2. And you see how we got through all of this simply by applying our rules, which is why I say it's sort of kind of an acceptability question, although I guess it isn't really. So A, B, C, D, and E. I'll actually just write them. So IW is 1, SW is 2, SV is 2, TW is 2, TV is 2, and then you just compare, right? Here's that. That's right here. This isn't true. This could be true once again. TW is 2. This could be true, and this could be true, right? And remember that this is a must be true except question, right? MBT except. What does that mean? Must be true except means that one of them could be false, or doesn't have to be true. So it turns out that the one that we crossed out, this guy right here, answer choice B, is the only one that's just not possible. Oops. Right, this is the only one that's not possible, therefore answer choice B is our answer. Once again, be very careful. Must be true except. I almost fell into that trap just now, even. Okay, so that's question 11. Let's keep going. Question 12 says, if TrueVest's website target is shorter than its voicemail target. Okay, so number 12. TrueVest's website target is now strictly shorter than their voicemail target. Okay, so what do we have? We have that TrueVest's voicemail target can't be 1, right? Which means that it's got to be either 2 or 3. 2 or 3. Which means that depending on how that goes, this is either 1 or 2. Right? Okay. And so what are they asking us? They're asking us which of the following must be true, which means that this piece of information has to tell us something, for sure, for certain. So what do we know about these elements? Well, TW appears in another rule, right? TW appears over here, which tells us that SW is less than TW. Well, the problem is, if TW is 2, then SW is 1. The problem is, if TW is 1, then SW is 0. Since this is a strictly less than relationship, and so therefore this just isn't possible. And so therefore this has to be it, right? SW is 1, TW is 2. And so let's see if that's part of the answer. So A, B, C, D, and E. Answer choice A says what? Answer choice A says Image's voicemail target is 2 days. I don't know. Image's website target is 2 days. I don't really know. Image's website target is 1 day. I still don't know anything about Image's targets whatsoever, or at least not off of this piece of work. So Salid's website target is interesting to me though. So is it 2 days? No, it can't be 2 days, because it's a strictly less than. That would imply that TW is 3 days, which we know is explicitly counterfactual here, which means it's got to be. And it turns out to be E. Yeah, it looks like it, because Salid's website target is 1 day. That's this right here. Right. I guess that these 3 answer choices, like answer choice D, gets to the heart of this relationship. If you thought that W was greater than or equal to V, then answer choice D would have been correct. But since it's less than or equal to, that's why E is the right answer. So these two I would feel comfortable grouping with each other. these three guys are also grouped with each other, because what they're doing here is they're counting on you to come here, right? Because the other thing that we could have done is we could have used this TV information as either 2 or 3, to say that, okay, therefore IV is either 1 or 2, right? The problem is that, TV being 2 or 3, that means IV is 1 or 2. We don't know which one it is. So we can't say for sure, whether it's 2 days. That eliminates answer choice A. And then because we can't say for sure what the voicemail target is, we also don't know what the website target is, right? Because if the voicemail target is 2 days, the website target can be 1 day or 2 days. If the voicemail target is 1 day, then of course it has to be 1 day for the website as well. So because of the uncertainty in answer choice A, that also eliminates B and C. So that's what they're going for when they give you this response. They're trying to, because there's 2 ways you can think of it. This TV, I'll color code it, right? This TV evokes memories of this guy, whereas this TW evokes memories of this guy. And so one of these leads to a dead end, the purple one. The blue one leads to the correct answer. Okay, let's keep going. 13. 13 says what? If image's website is 2 days, which of the following must also be 2 days? Okay, so IW is 2, so I'm going to ignore pretty much everything else and see what kind of inferences I can draw out of this. Right, so the first thing I know is that the website target has to be less than or equal to the voicemail target. That's rule number 1, which means that IV is either 2 or 3. The problem is we know that IV is not going to be 3 because it has to be less than these guys, which is that IV has to be 2. Right? And knowing that IV has to be 2, well, this strict less than sign makes this really easy. SV has to be 3, and TV also has to be 3. Right? Notice that these don't tell us anything about the website targets, because all we know is that the website targets have to be less than or equal to. So this website target could be 3, 2, or 1. This website target could be 3, 2, or 1. And it's not particularly valuable to wonder about those things. Okay. So now, going to the answer choices, which of the following must also be 2 days? It should be IV. That's the only one that I feel like we should know. And so is that an answer choice? IV is answer choice A, right up front. No searching required. Okay. So going through the rest of these real quick, we know all the voicemail targets, C and E, are wrong for that exact reason, right? Because they're 3 when we're looking for 2s. B and D talk about SW and TW, and as I mentioned before, all we know is that they're equal to, like, it could be any of them, 1, 2, or 3. Or I guess in SW's case, it could be 1 or 2. But in either case, it just doesn't really, these two are related in the sense that SW has to be less than TW, but it could be 3 and 2 or 2 and 1. Or I think 3 and 1 also works as well. So there's no certainty about any of these. So since this is a must-be true question, that's why answer choice A is correct here. All right, let's go to 14. 14 says, if Salih's voicemail target is shorter than TrueVest's website target. Okay, so now SV is less than TW. Okay. And what else do we know about these elements, I guess? Right? As far as SV is concerned, we know that IV is less than it, strictly less than it, I should add, and I guess I should rewrite that so as to make it a little bit clearer. So this is what I'll do. I'll move this aside. Right, this relationship tells us that IV is strictly less than SV. Which means what? This is less than this, which is less than this. This has to be 1, this has to be 2, this has to be 3. It must be. There's no way. There's no other way that you can manage this, right? And then obviously SW is less than TW, so we can add that on down here. SW is also less than TW. And I think that takes us through most of our rules. The website target is less than the voicemail target, but it can't be less than 1. So that means IW is also equal to 1, right? And so this website target could be either 1 or 2, depending. And then the website target for T is 3, which means that Well, since the website target is less than or equal to the v, that means TW is also 3. So we have a ton of information here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that we know the numbers for, and then this guy's either 1 or 2, which just isn't very much, wiggle room as far as that's concerned. Not a lot of uncertainty in this question once you hash it out. Okay, so number 14. So which of the following targets could be 2 days? So what are the ones that could be 2 days? SV definitely is 2 days. SW could be 2 days, and that's it, right? And so A is IW. IW, no. IW is 1 day. B is IV. IV is also 1 day. C is SW. That's it. There we go. Answer is D, TV, right? TV is, I'm sorry, this should be TV, right? Because the voicemail target. So that's also 3 days. And then TrueVest website target is also 3 days. So that's why answer choice C is the answer here. All right, let's actually clear the board here, since we're running out of room. Oops, little red spot over here. Oh, good enough. Let's go to 15. 15 says, which of the following targets cannot be set for more than one of the clients? So more than one of the clients obviously means, 2 plus. So basically, we need to go through these answer choices, and we need to talk about why we can't, potentially set multiple sets of this particular constraint on our customers. And whichever one it becomes impossible is the one that we need to pick. Okay, so the first thing is that just looking at my chart down here, I notice there's a lot of things that can't be in 3, a lot of things that can't be in 1, which means that my immediate inclination is to take A, D, and E a little bit more seriously, a little, as a little more closer to what I'm getting at, because these 2-day website voicemail things don't seem to me like they have very much information attached to them, right? In general, not in general, in particular, it looks like most of these hard less than signs are going to end up putting a bunch of stuff in a 2 anyway, so I don't feel like there's any particular reason that we can't have multiple things in the 2-day slots. But multiple 1s and multiple 3s could potentially cause issues, so I want to take a look at those first. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is this is multiple 1-day website targets, right? So we know that TW is not going to be one of our 1-day website targets, which SW is 1, IW is 1, and then TW is something else, right? Which satisfies our rule here, right? SW is less than TW. TW can be 2 or 3, doesn't really matter. And the thing about that is that because the website targets are less than or equal to the voicemail targets we can say are whatever they want. They can be anywhere from 1 to 3 as far as S and I are concerned. They can be either 2 or 3 as far as T is concerned. And so the only other rule that we have to offer here, or to look at here, is IV is less than SV and TV. Is it possible when this is the situation? And the answer is yeah, right? Because if you put IV as 1, right, you use the equal, and then SV can be 2 or 3. TW or TV rather can be 2 or 3, because all it has to do is be equivalent to or greater than the website time, and you have something that works. So answer choice A doesn't end up being the case. Okay, I'm going to come down here to the 3 days, because I think that's again the extremes are the ones that I want to look at. So we're saying a 3-day voicemail target. So we know that IV is not going to be 3, which means that SV is going to be 3, which means that TV is going to be 3. And so IV is less. IV is either 1 or 2, right? So let's think about this for a second. This is sort of the flip side of answer choice A, in the sense that when the voicemail numbers are so high, the website numbers can be whatever they want, right? And in particular, like once we've satisfied this rule, this number 3 is the only one we have to deal with, right? We can very easily put the website time as just less than the website time for T. It's very easy. Just SW is 2 and we're done, right? And there's no other rule that prevents us from doing anything else. And so therefore answer choice D looks like it's fine as well. I'm actually going to get rid of this thing down here. But answer choice D is fine as well, for the same reason, right? When we have the low extreme of the website and the voicemails are just, higher, that's fine. When we have the high extreme of the voicemails, the websites are lower, that's also fine. But answer choice E ends up being a problem, because answer choice E says we have a 3-day website target. Okay, so we know that SW can't be 3, so it's either 1 or 2. That leaves IW as 3, TW as 3, right? Here's the issue. SW has to be less than TW. Okay, fine. We're done with that. IV has to be less than SV and TV, right? What does this information tell us? If the website time is 3 days, that means that the voicemail times also have to be 3 days, which means that IV is suddenly not going to be less than anything. And so therefore, answer choice E is our correct answer here. Right? Going back to these guys, 2-day website targets, right? You could put everything, or any 2 of the 3 of the website targets in the 2-day slot, and it just wouldn't matter. Because all you need is that this guy is less than this. That means you could either put SW as 1 and TW and IW as 2, or you could do SW as 2, TW and IW are 3, and both of those work just fine. Similarly for the 2-day, or I'm sorry, those are the website targets. That's answer choice C. So I guess I should move this down here. Answer choice B is the voicemail targets, and that works exactly the same way, right? All you need is IV is less than SV and TV, so IV is just 1, SV and TV are 2, and then the websites can as long as SW is less than TW, well, SW can be 1, TW can be 2, and that's fine. Okay. Now finally 16. 16 asks us if none of the clients has a website target of 2 days, then which of the following could be true? So whatever, website is not equal to 2, which means it's either 1 or 3, right? Okay, so looking at website target, this is immediately what I see. SW is less than TW. There's no 2, which means that SW has to be 1, TW has to be 3, right? Because otherwise, if TW isn't 3, it has to be 1, and that breaks our rule. If SW is not 1, it has to be 3, which again breaks our rule, right? This immediately tells me that TV is also 3, because the website has to be less than or equal to the voicemail. Good. And so what does that get us? TV is right here, right? TV is 3, which means IV is less than 3, which means IV is either 1 or 2. I guess we can write that. IV is equal 1 or 2. Which means that the website has to be 1 or 2, depending, right? If IV is 1, then IW is 1. But, okay. So they're asking which of the following could be true. Okay. So we have IW less than SW. We have SW less than IW. We have SV less than TV. TW less than IW. TV less than SV. Okay, so which of these can we eliminate right off the bat? Can anything be less than it? Well, I guess we don't know SW. Oh no, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So can anything be less than SW? SW is 1, right? So there's no way this is going to be the case. I should write that in red. Just cross it out once. Okay, how about B? SW is less than IW. This seems like it has promise, right? Because what if SW is 1 and IW is 2? Except, oh, hold on a second. Remember that there's no 2-day website targets, right? So it turns out that IW has to be 1, regardless of whether or not IV is 1 or 2, which means that 1 is not less than 1. Answer choice B is tricky, but it's not the correct answer. Okay. How about C? SV is less than TV. Well, TV is 3, right? It is entirely possible that SV is going to be less than TV, because there's no way that it's going to be, greater than TV. I mean, it could be equivalent, but, it also could be less than, right? You see here, SV, all it has to do is the W has to be less than or equal to the V, so this could be 1, 2, or 3. And there's nothing that really prevents us from picking any of these numbers. So let's leave that one around. How about D? TW is less than something. This is 3, right? 3 is not going to be less than anything, so I don't even need to think about that any further. And the answer is E, TV. Again, this is 3. 3 is less than whatever it is? No, not going to be the case. So therefore, answer choice C is the correct answer to this question. Answer choice B being the tricky one, the one that's probably going to trip you up the most. So this is kind of a strange game. This is, at least from my students' experiences, the toughest game in this in this set of games from Test 68. But nevertheless, all it takes is a little bit of a little bit of a process and just logically going through the steps, and you wind up with there's not a ton of complicated logic at the end of the day here, and that's the thing you want to take away. At the end of the day, it seems like it's complicated, but if you look back, look back on the explanations, look back on the procedures that we went through on the questions, none of them were very difficult, and most of them you could do pretty quickly if you just had to do on your own. Not to mention that the other games in this section are easier to compensate, so it's okay if you spend a little more time on this one, as long as you can make it up on the other games, in particular games 1 and 2, which were pretty simple by comparison. So anyway, yeah, that's just the wrap up for this logic game.